So good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Ladies Go Live podcast, series 1, episode 2, The Power Behind the Woman with Paula Goodman. Hi, Paula.
Hello.
How you doing? You feeling good this morning?
Oh, yeah. All right. 7 a.m. There we go. Yeah.
So as we know, this is all about you as well as your connection with health and well-being and all of that. So let's start off simple. Nice introduction. Who are you? What do you do? And who is Paula?
Paula, I am, I'm just a woman. No, I am, I know from yesterday's conversation. Sorry, humor. I like to be funny. I am currently a writer, an author, and a poetess. I have been through a lot of experiences. I have a versatile background, but I left the corporate world in 2019.
Oh, the Paula famous freeze.
Life.
You still with me?
But yeah, I'm here. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Like circumstances, they come. But I don't know where I left off there, but yeah. So
leaving the call as well.
Okay, yeah, that happened in 2019. It was a final circumcision there, and decided to believe in myself and attempt the world of writing outside of my private life and share words with the world to help inspire, motivate after dealing with my own mental health issues from a lot of crappy situations in my life. So yeah, here I am.
Well, let's just say a quick hello. We've got some listeners, so we've got Candy.
Hi. Hello, Candy.
Barbara. Just Mauricio. Hello all. Thank you all for listening in.
Hello. Namaste.
And Ahmed just pops up. Lovely. Thank you for joining us. So obviously you've said, what you've done in your journey. So how has health and well-being affected or influenced that journey?
Because I would say that the mental health more so became something of a great concern with my own issues and struggles, depression, anxiety, PTSD, and all that stress, and how it almost took me. The struggle with wanting to be alive, suicidal thoughts and whatnot, using every avenue of help and finding out that I had some value, struggling with not wanting to be here on the planet, not wanting to be alive, not knowing, not caring, just not caring about myself. And when I realized that I had the birthright of dignity, that I mattered, and struggling with not knowing that for many years in my life, that I had a right to be here. And that all came down to realizing, it comes with self-belief, self-love, time for me. I was a giver. I gave. I lived with a narcissist. They I'm an empath. They will zoom in on you and take you and suck your soul. And I was able to, fight for my soul in the end. So.
And the thing is, what you're highlighting, obviously you said the narcissist, the place at home, there are many people who just suffer with that. There's some people who suffer with losing their soul at work and just becoming, say, a mouse on a wheel, just going around the circuits and actually losing that identity and actually, say, losing the sparkle, forgetting what actually they're worth doing something more or there's something else. So what you experienced was obviously, say, shit.
Yeah, well, it's not only that. I mean, I don't know. Like, I look back and I see myself as a miracle now, because it wasn't just the one situation. I was going through many at once. Leaving that marriage, changing cities, moving. My work situation was very toxic, and I was dealing with a human rights issue. I had to deal with a narcissist at work as well, but stand up for myself. That was a big thing. And not only that, at the same time, I'm dealing with my mental health.
Mm.
This took, like, this was a couple of years we're talking about, to wander around not giving a crap about myself, struggling to be alive, to see if there was any hope because I didn't have any significance. It was a lot at once. So I find it incredible that that I'm here, and I really worship that now, and I honor it, and the whole idea of, like, giving it up to the universe, to my belief, whoever, having that hope, finding that sense of hope. If I had the one thing that I struggled to find, one day I just, like, I was at my wit's end. It was like, no, I can't do this. I cannot live this life. I do not like it. I suck at it.
Mm.
And from that moment, it was like, you know what have I got left? And I kind of spoke to God and said, my creator, my universe, I'm giving it back.
Mm.
And from that moment, it changed everything. And I just kept the faith. With that hope, I found faith. I started believing there's got to be something. I'm going to give this.
And
I'm going to hang on and see what happens.
yeah, that's the thing, because you think that brick wall moment. We say it's that, for example, you go to the doctor and they suddenly say you have high blood pressure, so that's the reason you exercise. You suddenly have your partner break up, get kicked out. You have things, all these things go wrong. It's that brick wall slam in your face, and you either quit and you commit suicide or something, or self-harm, or it's a negative slide, or you go grab hope. So it's fantastic you've been able to grab hope.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, when it comes to mental health,
Mm.
when you are in a situation where you're struggling, like, by nature, we want to be alive, but
Mm.
by nature, we don't want to die, and your mental health, like, if you lose control of what's in your mind, your body will follow. So it's not an act of committing it. We're not committed to want to die. We want to live, and we struggle with that all the time. And sometimes we're triggered by the environment, and in the face of death is the antidote for life for some people. But if you don't have any hope, you cross over. Your mind is gone. Your body's already, it's going to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got some support for what you're saying. Obviously, lovely conversation, lovely talking, healthy conversation. And of course, Anne's with us as well. So,
And
hello. So, this leads us well into this actually. How does caring for your health and well-being make you more successful?
because everything matters about how you feel about yourself. It affects everything. Your your sense of self-dignity. If you feel that you have value and that you matter, it's going to increase your ability to deal with life. If you don't feel any value, you feel insignificant, you feel ignored, you don't feel a part of anything. And we're social creatures by nature, so we want to be a part of society. We want to feel the value. We all have the birthright of dignity. I'm always pushing this one. That's part of my major mission here. We have the birthright of dignity. Nobody is better than us. We are equal. So that sense of value, like, self-belief changes everything.
And we, because you just obviously said about emotional intelligence, we obviously had a comment on this last night when I obviously posted that we were going live. Someone actually put about emotional intelligence, and the reason you have that is from good emotional health. Emotional health comes from your mental health. So you sit there and go, okay, I don't need to do it, but actually, that's where you're going to become leaders.
Yep. You have to do the thoughts in your head aren't real. And I always ask myself too, like, there's this space between thoughts is where we find the answers, because it's like, ask yourself, is this my thought or somebody else's? Did I allow them into my thoughts? Did I give over my thoughts? And then I get to choose. The act of choosing is that belief. What you believe is what you become. And when you realize that thoughts aren't real, but what you choose to believe is.
Yeah. I mean, you keep saying that about the choices you make, but it's also putting your thoughts first, putting yourself first.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I grew up not knowing that I got to choose to be me first and to love me first. I was always told to, like do for others, and all this other, you know, if you think about yourself, watch out for your ego. Don't be pompous. Don't be on a high horse. Don't be conceited. Any thoughts of self love were discouraged because nobody said love you. You matter. There's a big difference when we're talking about the power of words and how significant they are in your environment. We're born these pure, clean slates,
Mm-hmm.
right? And whatever we're born into is going to be the biggest influence, right?
You see all these pictures as well, the children, and they use obviously, a white child and a coloured child, sort of thing. They say, here you go, we don't learn right. That's always quite an image that's always shared, but it's not just about skin colour. It's not about background. It's not about anything else. Every behaviour, like if we met children, the only reason we know to like each other, dislike each other would be how we were taught. Have you frozen on me again?
Yeah. Children, you froze on me. when I when I think about children too, because I mean, like part of my background too is child studies and psychology. So I mean, I was always interested in lifespan development too, and finding out the reasons people are the way they are and why we do the things we do. I mean, it's just studying humanity, humans. I make it my business to know what a human is, and I've always been, like why. I always ask why, but children don't see differences until it's pointed out.
No.
Right? We don't see the difference in other people. We might think, and we try to self justify things and we ask questions why. And those people who tell us are the people we look up to and we depend on our parents, our teachers, our, leaders, and whoever is older than us. We were taught to respect the older people. But those older people, if they're not the right ones, you're getting the wrong message. When you figure out the right message, it's your job then to pass it along. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. So here's an opinion one. This will get you excited. Why is body and self-confidence important in any professional career? So it's not just for women, it's for men, it's for any career. Why is it important?
Why is body and self-image?
Body and self-confidence.
Self-confidence. Because again, it comes down like your body is your temple. We have a spirit and we live in this temple. And if you're uncomfortable in your own space, you're going to be you're not going to be able to give 100%. We like to be the best we can be. And if you don't feel comfortable, even if it's, like, oh, this isn't working, like I'm feeling pudgy or I'm just feeling sluggish or anything like that. Well, what can I do about my own temple? This is just a temple. If you honor your spirit, you want to take care of where it's living. Right. And then that confidence, when you feel good about yourself, it's like, okay, house is looking good. I feel better. I can work. It's kind of like, if you get up in a messy house, you're like, it's going to hit you,
They get up and you're washing up, you're like, oh God.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's going to hinder on what your capacity to contribute will be. I mean, if you want to be fully contributing, then you need to take care of your temple.
I was going to say there's a great deal of difference. Obviously, we'll talk about your words because, but if you try and write and you're in a bad space, either you struggle to write because you lack creativity or it's a negative flow. So if people read it, it's kind of like, because your words are always uplifting. What you share is always kind of like, you feel the positive energy. You can kind of go, it makes you smile. There's a story potentially in some, some things. And you can feel that and it comes through.
I've been writing my whole life. I think it was, I didn't really share. It was just somewhere I went when I was feeling down. a lot. Or I just would get these moments where it's like, oh my gosh, I have to write this down, else I'm going to forget it. It was almost like a message or something. And then I would like pack it away or something. And every now and then I would share it as a, like, here's a poem about Christmas. Here's a poem about your birthday and birth and that kind of thing. But when a lot of dark times in my life, I would write. And that was part of my journey as well. When I gave it up, I'm like, what am I going to do now? And it's almost like the words from the universe were there. It's like when or people say you get a message from God, and I believe it was mine. And the words were, it's time to share.
Mm.
Because then I went back and started reading my own work, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. And it was just strong. At first it was like, what am I thinking? Like nobody's going to read my words, like it's like, oh, here. And poetry, I have this ability to rhyme like that. And when I read something and I go, wow, how that is impact.
Yeah.
So, and it just became something that I just said, okay, where am I going to do this? And then it was kind of like the message from the universe. Like I was open to the signs.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn was there, and it was one I was watching, and I just
and
I'm gonna do this. There's a lot of people here. Am I frozen again?
No, you're back now. Yeah.
I mean,
Paula always freezes because her internet sticks. So sorry, guys, if you're listening, you find it a bit jumpy. We have technical issues, but that's the world we live in. Nothing is perfect. People think you can pre-record a video or things like this. And like you're saying, you can't always sit there and plan and go, I'm going to write a story about an apple, for example, and it might not come. You can't force how things are going to think, but you have to look and listen for those signs.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned, if anything, those signs, like I always thought I was a weirdo or didn't fit in all my life type thing. I was really like an introvert, shy, didn't feel like I was a contributor. Like if I felt like value, I remember those moments, when somebody lifted me up or something like that. But like being open to the signs now, it's like, wait, what did that really mean? And it's like that there's a message. There's messages out there when you're open to them, like numerology. I see digits all the time. The duplicate in digits, 1111, 444, 333. They've been there a long time in my life. Now I'm like, you know what? Those are messages.
Yeah. And what you highlighted there as well was because you said the fear. Will people want to hear my message? Will people want to read this? And that fear is what holds a lot of people back, because they're like, oh, no one's going to listen to me. No one's going to read this.
Yeah, it's a challenge when you have self-doubt, and you get self-doubt because nobody ever told you that you have a voice, that you can speak. When you're not being heard, you don't talk. Right? And you hold it all in, and then it manifests, and then the stress starts, and then you go into careers, and you go by the expectations that you have been told. We had this whole conversation about expectations yesterday. So now that I know differently, expectations is not something I want to live by. I will anticipate better things. I don't know the future. I can't control, the past is done. I don't live there anymore. I live now, and I want to just embrace the day. I want to give it to the universe, and it's going to give me back, because it already has. Right?
So it's a perfect thing to ask then. So what inspires you to be the best you, or your best self?
Me.
Yeah.
My self-value. I love me. I'm allowed to love me and be proud of me. I don't have to let other people control me. I don't give them that. Nobody owns me but me. I am my own best friend. And that's what matters first. When I believe in me, then other people will too. I can't give 100% of me to everyone else if I don't believe in me. And I have to. So I'm not going to work.
That's a good fair.
It doesn't work if I don't believe. I'll be an imposter.
So we got quick hellos because we've got hi, and Ron's woken up as well. So good morning in Canada.
Wakey.
And someone's living now. So sorry, that's not your name's not coming up on here, but obviously we'll see when we get on LinkedIn. So thank you for coming, listening, joining, whatever you want to call it.
Thank you.
So what is the biggest challenge that you actually face, and how do you tackle that?
Biggest challenge. I wouldn't really say I look at challenges anymore. It's just not completing the tasks that I want, being too hard on myself.
Mm.
That reminding myself that it's okay to not be okay. It's accepting anything that comes my way, acknowledging it. But the biggest thing I think for anyone is self-forgiveness, because you can't move forward if you're held by something that you can't forgive and let go of. And that's the biggest thing. We don't forgive ourselves, and it will hold you back, right? You have to let go. You have to really, really forgive yourself. And that will lead to authenticity. That will be your true self. When you are completely honest with yourself, then you can begin to heal. And healing doesn't mean you're going to.
That's a beautiful freeze face. You froze for a second there with the most beautiful. I have to say, I think we're on a roll for you today with those freezes.
The challenge right now is the stupid internet and freezing. Yes, if I could control technology.
That can really get to you, especially if you're doing things like this, or you've got meetings and you're meeting clients, because also as well, if you're in the hot seat, you kind of go, I've got to give this good impression. And of course you feel like this is like, oh, it's breaking up my impression, but it doesn't stop who you are or the value you give, and you can't control the world around.
Yeah. And we are our own worst critics. Mm-hmm. When we don't do what we think is what we're about or something, or we're just chopped off, like you said, and just slammed right into the wall, like, oh, I'm going to right away self-inflict that injury and self-abuse. I'm going to blame me. Some people blame everything else, but you cannot control what is going to happen. You don't know the future. So I have to be ready. Accept it. Okay, here's the problem. I don't even like to use the word failure, because now when I think of failure, it's such a negative word that I will put the word situation. I'm consciously making that effort all the time when I feel that I'm like, the first word I want to think of, because it's the human language that I was introduced to, I'm a failure. You know what? I'm not a failure. This is just a situation for me to deal with. What do I have to deal with this? And collect the poop.
Ron's in your corner about the internet. He says the internet doesn't come with mittens, and it's a bit cold.
We're in a deep freeze right now, so yeah. Ron's right.
The internet's frozen.
Yeah, we take baths with our snowsuits on here when it's cold.
Oh dear. I'm moving swiftly on, otherwise we get into bar habits. So other than yourself, who's been a big influence in your life?
There's people. Every person in my life has been an influence, whether good, bad, or just downright. That everybody influences everybody. We are all influences. I will say, because it is me that is the biggest influencer in how I think about myself. But my environment, where I choose to think, where I choose to live, where I choose to spend time, everything, where I choose to work, where I choose to put me. But there are some people that have stand out, and I'm just going to go with where my new life began when I started writing. I'll say that Dennis Pitoko from Biz Catalyst right away picked up on me, and he's been a great positive influence. And that whole somebody else believes in me, that just affirms, wow, it does give back. And then other people came up. What?
I was going to say, the thing is, it doesn't matter who it is, just to get that belief back. It could be
affirmation. Yeah. And along the way, people, other people And I didn't self-proclaim myself as the word Jedi poetess and on LinkedIn with the golden word guns. These were other people's words that affirmed my journey along the way. I became because I gave. And that's all I was doing was giving. I wasn't charging. Nothing was like I didn't have a business at the time when I started. Um, and like I still remember these people. The first person to call me a poetess was Pramath Ranjan, and I call him my LinkedIn godfather. He'll show up, and I will give him that title. Word Jedi was won by Michael Cortina, and he said that, yeah, and then other people would, whenever they would talk to me or something, it became Word Jedi poetess. And then Farmer Wayne, he came in and he said, you got the golden word guns. And then that picked up. And then somebody said, put that in your profile, make it your brand. Like, that's your brand now. I'm like, really? And I'm like, I'm going to do that. And I gave myself a Christmas present at 2019. I was going to wait to the end of the year. And in December of 2019, I put that in my profile because I earned it. That's the way I saw it. And I was like, if they're going to say that now, like, that's the journey. And I'm like, here you go. And I just kept going. My goal was every day to the end of the year was to post and just see what happens, to share with other people.
And you froze
it. And it grew. And it's like, wow, I feel.
That's the thing. The journey starts somewhere.
Yeah. And that's part of the journey. So, the love that I have received from others just by giving that love and to live in love, because love really is everything. When there's no love, you feel pain. And that means self-love too, right?
And Sonia's joined us. She's obviously saying, I'm responsible for me.
Yes, you are. Yes.
Well said. So obviously we've been on for nearly half an hour, so coming to the end. So what is one bit of advice you would give to our listeners and those watching and those with us?
To always be open. Be open-minded. Be aware. Don't compare yourself to others. Just accept yourself. Just love yourself, and know you have the birthright of dignity. If anything else, no one's ever told you that you matter, that you have value, that you have a reason to be here. You do. You may not always know that reason, but there is a connection between humans, and that interconnection, you may have done something, said something, smiled at someone, and made a significant difference. There's something that you have, a gift. Spend time looking for it. Realize it and know and believe in you, right?
I've got the instinct now to give myself a hug. But we'll save that for
what's up.
For those who want to catch us live, you know what we get up to. So just to round off, how can our listeners get hold of you? Because obviously we could go more and hear your lovely story. How can our listeners, if they want to find out more, get hold of Paula?
I think it's in the post, but yeah, the most place I spend is on LinkedIn. That's probably one of the first places I check. And usually I'm diligent to my last post. I'm terrible at keeping up with notifications and DMs because honest to God, I need 5 days in one. I need an assistant, but I try to keep it all mine. There's nobody else that does this. I'm working alone here online. Behind the scene, I got help, but when I go to LinkedIn, it's all me. And even actually any social media platform, I'm on all of them actually. But I'm diligent to my last post, like engage with me or just reach out. I'm there. And then there's my website too, thesecretofthesoul.com.
And as we said, both the links are in the comments above this post. And of course, so you can link up straight away and connect with Paula, send an appreciation on her last post if you are on LinkedIn, or check out her work on her website. So thank you, Paula, for being amazing, for being you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me in this space. Everybody who came, thank you.
And for those who are listening, obviously next week we'll have the episode 3. We also have amazing ladies like Marriott Ram and like Kelly Robinson coming up in the next couple of weeks. And you can catch our regular live. The ladies go live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. GMT. That's 10 Eastern and 7 Pacific. Otherwise, have a good day, guys.